So, here's the thing about streaming. Sometimes it takes a while for the picture to actually get around to being streamed.
Right.
And that's why I'm buffering it right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Tridorks. This is where sometimes I draw, most of the time I should, most likely I don't. But I'm literally just we're just having a good time here. We're talking, we're chatting, and unfortunately, some of us can't be here today. So, may I introduce my co-anchor? Co-anchor?
Yep, that's me. Dash Magnum back again.
Dash Magnum. There we go. I mean, we're gonna have to figure this out at some point.
Yeah. We will.
Okay. We might actually have another member join us later today, potentially even another guest. But today we are going to take a back seat and enjoy just some fun nerdy talk. How does that sound to you? Dash?
Absolutely.
Alright. We're talking Spider-Man. We're talking we talking about the Spiders-Mans.
A friendly neighborhood web swinger.
Let me tell you about Spider-Man. At least my
you
kind
ask,
of...
a menace.
Oh. I love everything about Spider-Man. Spider-Man is awesome. Every element, angle, point, and detail is amazing. Spider-Man is the one and only character that has gone up against every Marvel character and won in a battle. If he didn't actually win, he won in a stalemate when they realized that they shouldn't be fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, then.
Yeah.
To drive the point clearer, the second comic book of Spider-Man, which I own the first 5 Spider-Man comic books ever. Issue number 2, which actually introduces the first villain of Spider-Man, which actually is the Chameleon.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's the second half of the issue, but the first half of the issue is him trying to gain some help or love or, some sort of positive, basically get a positive job.
Yeah.
So that he can get some credibility. And where does he go to? To the Fantastic Four. And in an entire... it's one single page open spread. I think it's a maximum of... I think it's like 15 panels.
Okay.
In 2 pages and 15 panels, he completely defeats... I mean, it's not in front of me, so I'm trying to go off...
That's fine. Don't worry about it.
I'm trying to go off of memory, and it's been years.
To paraphrase the comic.
Yeah. he literally takes out the entire Fantastic Four.
Sure.
He does the dumb thing. He sneaks in through a window at the Fantastic Four tower.
Mm-hmm.
And he uses his agility to outmaneuver the flame.
Mm-hmm.
He uses his spider strength against the thing, basically using the thing's momentum against him.
Right.
And smashes him into a containment chamber. I can't remember what exactly he did to the flame, but he neutralized him. He used his spider sense to determine where the Invisible Woman was. And then he webbed up Dr. Reed's so much that he couldn't even stretch himself out of it.
There you go.
Just sprayed him full of webbing. He's like, I can't. How do? And Spidey's like, guys, I'm a superhero. I'm trying my best, and apparently I have this really, really bad reputation. And they're like, no shit. Look what you just did to us.
It's ironic because in a way, the Fantastic Four is kind of a bit of a prototype for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The superhero with problems.
And he goes, can't you at least take me in? Don't you understand, like, my problems? And they said, yeah, well, here's the thing, though. We've looked at your record, we've seen you on the news, we've read you in the paper, and to be quite honest, we don't want your name to be part of us.
Right.
And Spidey basically just goes, fuck you, I'm out. I mean, right there describes so much.
That's Spider-Man, the superhero like you with problems.
Yep. Here's the other thing about Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
There was a comic that came out. A mutual friend of ours lent it to me, and I read it, and I can't remember who the writer and artist was. You might be able to help me.
Okay,
but
I'll try.
the writer was talking about how Spider-Man was had his own totem and was going against other totems.
I don't know the artist specifically, but I believe that was a J. Michael Straczynski bit.
Yes.
Talking about totems and whatnot.
Yeah, the totems. And I think that was a really roundabout way of basically saying and admitting, and correct me if I'm wrong, Spider-Man was originally just a really chaotic wrestling character.
Right.
And he's constantly going up against foils and like all of his characters have these, like, Marvel has a lot of masks, right?
Sure.
But Spider-Man specifically has, like, it's Spider-Man, then you have the Lizard, and you have the Green Goblin, you have Dr. Octopus. I mean, all of these are like
got the Shocker, the Beetle,
the Rhino, Venom. Venom being the ultimate foil.
Sure.
But these are all, like, I can't help but notice that, like, these look like WWE or WWF fighters.
Right.
Like, the whole thing is like a wrestling drama.
Kinda.
That's how I see Spider-Man. I mean, like, at least one dimension. There are so many angles to there are so many elements to the web that is Spider-Man. And I think that's really what we should put into place here. This is all kind of going off the hook. You know, I'm just kind of making it up as we go. But
that's okay.
There are multiple lines and angles to the web that makes Spider-Man.
Sure.
And we've already talked about one or two of them. The fact that Spider-Man has gone up against multiple villains and multiple Marvel heroes, and has succeeded in combat.
Yep, up in that rarefied company with the Punisher and Squirrel Girl.
Oh my gosh, when he went up against the Punisher. Don't even get me started, dude. Don't even get me started. Oh my god, you're gonna get me started.
That's where the Punisher got started, was in a Spider-Man comic. Right?
It was.
By the way, I want to give a quick shout out to Nathaniel Hinkle in our comments. Thank you, Nathaniel, for hanging out and watching.
Coogie! Coloring. Oh, cool! Coogie's here. Yeah. Nice.
He is. He's in the comments. He's coloring, and him and the boys are doing a live stream.
Oh boy! Wait, they're doing a live stream? So what you're saying?
He says, me and the boys doing a live. I mean, that might be just a meme he's quoting there, but he's saying me and the boys doing a live stream.
So I was about to say, you're trying to challenge a live stream here. You're showing up to a live stream while you're doing another live stream. Oh, I see how it is.
Then again, maybe he's talking about us.
That could very well be.
Maybe we're the boys doing a live stream.
That's most likely what it is. I need to change this picture, because every time we do it live, it says Doodling Dragoon, and I'm just like, that's most likely.
Oh yeah, it was the meme because we're talking about Spider-Man.
No, the meme because you're talking. Oh, me and the boys doing a live stream. Oh,
the me and the boys format.
Yep. I get it. No, that was good. I see it now.
You're good, Nate.
Hi.
Nice.
Hi. Oh, by the way, let's talk about True Apparel.
Yeah.
True Apparel. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's talk about True Apparel. They are a fantastic company. They are a small, kind of like a mom and pop kind of shop. They do online commissions for apparel. Mostly nerd-centric, but specifically game-centric apparel. And they're extremely comfortable. And they do really, really good work. I have seen their work. I have yet to actually get any of their work. But I can guarantee you that there's going to be a t-shirt with Tina out there. So maybe we can figure how that works out. But do take a look at True Apparel. You can look them up on, I believe, Twitter. And they're also on Facebook and Instagram. All you need to do is contact
all the usual.
All you need to do is contact them directly through one of those three. I believe they have artists that are able to do work for your apparel. If not, I'm more than happy to do artwork for said apparel.
There you go.
And there we go. And if you already have artwork designed, you can send it straight to them. Just request it. They'll send it to you. They have methods for payment. Just as long as you're in communication, everything's going to be just fine. So, True Apparel. There it is.
There you go.
Cool. So then, we have... So it looks like there's 3 of us. It might be you, me, and Nathaniel.
That's okay.
So go ahead and also shout out to others.
Spread the word.
Spread the word.
About the bird?
Bird is the word. Bird is the word. No, Brian, no!
Too late.
Hello, Brian. Have you heard about the word? Oh, no. What's the word? Oh, I'm sorry. I expected that you knew about the word. Well, what's the word? No, Brian, don't! Bird is the word. Bird is the word. Okay, I'm not gonna do that.
That's okay. Got out of our system.
Yep, got it out of the system. Okay, where was I going with Spider-Man? Ooh, where do we want to... Okay, now that we've broken that down, there's another element about Spider-Man, and... Actually, I want you to take the scene for a little bit.
Sure.
I want to hear.
What would you like me to talk about?
I want to hear your opinion on the Spider-Man formula.
On the Spider-Man formula. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you remember earlier when I was saying that the Fantastic Four are kind of like the prototype for Spider-Man, particularly one Benjamin J. Grimm, the blue-eyed, ever-loving thing?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the book that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were working on before. I mean, granted, with Spider-Man, it was Stan Lee and Steve Ditko.
Yeah, Ditko.
But it was Ditko on Spider-Man, Kirby on Fantastic Four. It's this idea of superheroes with normal, everyday problems.
That's most of what Marvel is.
Most of what Marvel is, some exceptions, but most of what Marvel is that.
Iron Man deals with alcoholism.
Sure, as does Iron Man, and
I just said Iron Man.
Captain or Ms. Marvel when she was Ms. Marvel. Carol Danvers had an alcoholic episode. But then you have the Fantastic Four, and you see it most in Benjamin Grimm. You know, the guy who just can't get away from all his problems.
Oh, Ben.
But, you know, you have Benjamin Grimm, who's kind of just the outsider who's doing his best. And keeps, you know, he's just... There's a great... I think it's like Marvel 2-in-1 annual number 7 or something, where he's fighting like this alien pro wrestler, bringing it back to the pro wrestling thing. And, like, he's just getting beat and beat and beat. And at one point, he's just, like, crawling on his hands and knees back to this guy to keep fighting. And the guy literally asks him, like, you know, why are you putting yourself through this? And the Thing's response is, I'm just too dumb and stubborn enough to know when to quit. Like, that is Benjamin Grimm. And, you know, you have Reed, who has a tendency to get so caught up in his work that he neglects things that are important, and then they come back to bite him in the ass. You have Johnny Storm, who probably the weakest of all four in my opinion, because he keeps having the same story, but it's the same story of, you know, he starts out immature, and his story arc is, well, I'm going to mature and learn to take on more responsibility, but then every writer, when they take over, he regresses back to being the immature kid who needs to grow up, and it's just like this cycle of over and over again. And there's almost a story that hasn't been written yet that you could, about maybe why none of these attempts to grow up seem to stick, and what he's maybe running away from, and what he's afraid will happen if he does. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But all of these also kind of play into Spider-Man a bit too. He's kind of the penultimate teenage hero. All of his really all of his villains are very teenage villains. You have your friend's dad, who just doesn't like you, in the form of Osborn and the Green Goblin. You have your friend, who then turns on you, in the form of Harry Osborn, who sometimes is also the Green Goblin. You have, a respected member of the scientific community that you maybe look up to. But when you really meet them, you find out they're not... you find out why you should never meet your heroes, in the form of Dr. Octopus. You even have teachers...
The relationship between Dr. Octopus and Spider-Man.
We'll come back to that. I
Boy.
promise we'll circle back to that. You even have other teachers and other, maybe would be colleagues who, just because of what they're getting themselves into, you would come into conflict with, in the form of Dr. Connors and the Lizard. Sometimes you just have this weird guy who's he wants to hunt spiders. Or, some big dumb bully who's just sees you in their way, like the Rhino. Oh, gosh. And sometimes he's not even really a bad guy. He just doesn't like you and won't shut up about how much he doesn't like you. And by golly, is there a better supporting character antagonist than J. Jonah Jameson? I love that guy.
Oh,
almost in every form he's shown up.
Jameson, JJ is amazing.
It's a real shame they got him just perfectly cast in the first movie, and no movie since had the guts to try and replace him.
Oh, you're talking about the first 3 films, right?
With J.K. Simmons, just perfectly cast that first time, right out the gate. Nailed him.
That was perfect.
J. Jonah Jameson is my favorite.
If I may, there was one scene in the so Spider-Man 2, one of my all-time favorite superhero films. Just because it owns everything that Spider-Man is, and it's so extraordinarily campy. Because it's like an homage to the old school campy comics.
Absolutely. The old Silver Age comics, yep.
They also captured a lot of the personality of the 90s cartoon show.
Yeah.
And
that was the last big thing, I think.
They captured Jameson's personality perfectly. Even down to the point where so there was a Spider-Man 1.5 edition, which is essentially 2.5 edition. So Spider-Man 2, 2.5. So this is effectively the director's cut. There were several scenes in that cut that were not needed, and I think actually took away from the film.
Sure, that happens. That does happen.
Action scene from the train scene was extended, and it was wonderful. There was a scene where Harry, how at the beginning Harry argues with Peter on his birthday. But there was an actual conversation where Harry comes back and responds with humility.
Right.
But that's not in the original theatrical version.
No.
But in 2.5 it is. And that really explains a lot.
Sure.
And that was very much welcomed. Where the hell was I going with this?
How sometimes not all deleted scenes are necessary and they were cut for a reason?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, yeah, there were definitely extra scenes that were in there that were not needed, and I was watching it with a friend, and that was his first time watching the movie, and I'm like,
Oof.
yeah, no, you should have seen the theatrical version. So, ladies and gentlemen, Spider-Man 2 is the definitive version, but actually I don't believe that was the reason why I brought this topic up, and I cannot remember for the life of me why I brought this topic up.
I wish I could help you, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'm sorry, folks. I'm ADHD, and
it'll come to you at 3 a.m.
Exactly.
You'll sit bolt upright in bed.
It's out the window, or it's crawling around the wall somewhere. Wait. Something about the '90s cartoon.
Yes.
Nope. Don't got it.
Sorry, man.
I tried. An effort was made.
An attempt was made.
An attempt was made.
We will soldier on.
Moving forward. So.
Yeah.
Do you have more to say about your topic?
Not much. I mean, you mentioned the one comic that really made an impact on you. For me, like, this might even be my favorite Marvel comic of all time. Is a Spider-Man comic. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It's from the original Stan Lee, Steve Ditko run, and I would even say, like, it's basically the prototype for every Marvel comic that came since, and could be argued as the prototype for the modern idea of what a superhero is. In some ways, it's Spider-Man, I believe, 33 from the original first run, and even if you haven't read it, I can almost guarantee you've seen the scene repeated, if not exactly, at least symbolically, because it's the one where Spider-Man lifts a heavy thing. You know what I'm talking about, right? For Spider-Man, he was fighting a villain, and he's in like a base in the sewers, and something like an explosion happens, the villain gets away, and Spider-Man is trapped under some heavy, Marvel Comics machinery. Water is pouring in.
Yes.
And he tries to lift it.
That has been done in every variation of Spider-Man.
There's a reason they keep going back to that, because like this is the moment where they figured it out and it clicked. They had a scene like this in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yes,
I'm sure they had a variation of it.
That was a variation where that's why he failed, because he couldn't lift it.
Because maybe this is again just a thing from like reading comics of a certain time.
At the beginning is what I mean.
Right.
As opposed to the situation that happened at the end. Oh my God, this movie is a perfect film.
Talking about what now? Talking about Homecoming?
Spider-Verse.
Oh, Spider-Verse.
Because at the beginning...
Right.
Sorry, you mentioned Homecoming. I'm sorry, I immediately thought of Spider-Verse, because that's what happened in Spider-Verse, and the traditional, 616?
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man?
That's the Marvel Universe, yep.
Yeah, the original Spider-Man Marvel 616, that's when he dies. When in that film, guys, don't worry, this is not much of a spoiler. It happens nearly at the beginning of the film.
Right. Yeah.
It's what sets everything into place. And he's lifting, he's trying so hard, and water is... I don't think it was water, but, I mean, like, other stuff is rushing through, and he's trying to push. He's trying so hard.
Right.
And he gets,
because if you give me a moment, I'll go over like what happens in that original comic. It's kind of the purest form.
Right. But let's have you do that with me, following what I describe, and that's when Peter 616 Peter falls, and the Kingpin walks up and takes a bullet to his head.
Well, I think in Spider-Verse he just straight up smashes him with his fists.
Oh, you're right. Something
because there's an explosion in the.
I can't believe this. I've watched this movie like 4 times.
Hey, don't. I've seen it about as many, and only in the latest time did I realize there's a scene where Penny, the Mangaverse Spider-Man, every time I thought she was just like hovering up closer. This time I finally realized, no, she has heelys, little shoes with the wheels in the heels, and she's just wheeling up. It just looks like she's hovering forward.
Oh yeah, no. Oh my God! If it wasn't for the fact
only
that
this last time,
if it was,
I saw that.
I'm just like, I'm constantly reminding myself, Penny is 16. Do not loot her. Penny is 16. Do not loot her.
Nope. Stay good. Stay good. Stay legal.
I know, but it's just like, I want more of Penny Parker. I want more. Right. I want to see her in her 20s.
Every character they introduce in that is gold in that movie. That's the magic of that movie.
Everything about that film. Anyway, go on. So
in the original comic, he gets trapped under the stuff.
Yes.
Water's pouring in. If he does not lift this thing up, he is going to drown. Mm-hmm. That is the stakes. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's just things like from reading those original comics, but there's something like built into the back of your mind where you're like, Spider-Man can lift 10 tons.
I think that's
just a thing in the back of your head.
I think that was the Lizard episode, the first Lizard.
Sure.
Because it was in the sewers, right?
Yeah, could be.
It was either the first Lizard or the first Green Goblin, because the Green Goblin wasn't actually.
Yeah, I'd have to look the story up again because I'm going off of memory.
Yeah, it wasn't tightly woven into the story, but either way, yeah.
I have to look it up, and it's part of a multi-part story as well. And this is just like almost its whole full episode is just him trapped underneath this wreckage, and they do the thing. He tries to lift it, and he can't. He can't lift it, and he gets to the point where he's accepted his own death. Like it gets heavy. So I guess maybe content warning, but like he's like, okay, like this is it. I can't lift this. This is way beyond what I can do. And he immediately thinks of Uncle Ben, and he's like, "Dang it! I failed Uncle Ben. I tried to make up for the mistakes I made, but I'm just not going to get that chance. This is it." And then he thinks of Aunt May. And he's like, this is way back. This is back when Aunt May looked like the Crypt Keeper.
No, this was the Green Goblin episode.
Maybe
the first introduction of the Green Goblin.
Like, this is something like I know every new iteration of Aunt May makes her a bit younger, but also at the same time makes it more believable that she could be his aunt. Yeah, because she looks like the first introduction of Aunt May, she looks on death's door. And that's a thing that comes up in the comics, is like that's why he can't tell her he's Spider-Man, because she might have an episode and just die from shock. Yep. So that's like always a thing with him, worrying about Aunt May, and that's who he thinks about. And he's like, oh dang, if I die, who's going to take care of Aunt May? He has literally nobody else. Yep. Obviously, Peter Parker's parents are dead. Uncle Ben is dead. He is the sole person taking care of her.
No,
then he thinks.
Now, of course, later.
Can I finish?
Yes. I'm sorry.
I'm trying to build to a moment here.
I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry, bro.
But it's okay. But he thinks of Aunt May, and he realizes like how much she depends on him, and then he thinks of literally all the other people. Mary Jane. I think Gwen Stacy is still alive at this point. He thinks of J. Jonah Jameson, and he thinks of all the people literally like almost all the people of New York who he has helped, who have survived all the crazy Marvel bullshit because of him, and he realizes he can't give up. And you know what Spider-Man does after that? After he has this realization? He lifts that dang piece of machinery that he couldn't lift before. It wasn't that he wasn't strong enough. He just needed to remember why he's a superhero. Because people depend on him. And that's what gives him the strength to do the impossible. To be Spider-Man. So, that was the moment I'm building to. You may now, whatever it is you wanted to say, go for it.
No, you nailed it, and I apologize for me wanting to jump in there and add my 2 cents, but they were nowhere near as important as to exactly what you were trying to say, and I loved every moment of it.
That's why it's the prototype for every Marvel comic, and honestly, the prototype for kind of the modern superhero at this point is what makes you a superhero isn't the powers, it isn't the flashy costume or how good you can fight. It's the fact that when people need you, you are there, and you're willing to do something.
Hey, these memes suck. Hello.
Hey, these memes suck.
Hey. Yep. It's true. These memes do. It's true. These memes do suck.
I mean, some of them. There's a couple of them I'm still fond of that haven't worn out their welcome yet, but
they suck.
I'm sure there's also some that do suck.
They suck lollipops.
That's fair.
Really well.
There you go. Oh, and bye, Nathaniel.
Oh, see you later. See you later, Cougar. Okay, so well then. We have a couple of defining factors here for Spider-Man. One being 100% basically I mean it's a wrestling match. That's where he got himself started.
Mm-hmm.
He got himself started in a silly little wrestling match. And he didn't get the pay that he was deserved. And he shrugged off his employer.
Mm-hmm.
And that person who stole the money from his employer ended up killing his uncle. And that's what set everything off.
Yep.
That's what started it all.
Mm-hmm.
And from then on out, it has been nothing but wrestling matches. So that's basically topic 1. So I'm just kind of recapping.
Yeah, no problem.
Topic 2 is what you were discussing, the fact that Peter realizes that it's not his strength or his superpowers that allow him to continue to go. It's his drive and love for the people around him.
Mm-hmm.
I present you topic number 3.
Okay.
Every time he takes a step forward, he unintentionally takes 2 steps back.
I mean, that's kind of an essential part of the superhero with problems like you and me. He can't win without losing.
Exactly. He unfortunately accidentally creates all of his villains. Now he solves general crime. Mm-hmm. webs up those who are stealing purses or backstabbing or back alley stabbing, thieves. Basic stuff like that. Helping out, grabbing that stupid red balloon for that kid in Spider-Man 2 the game. My balloon! My balloon! Yes, I know your balloon!
Oh, the flashbacks.
Normal superhero stuff, saving the people from the random tower fire, that kind of bullshit. But the problem is that the real super villains, they all come about because Peter somehow, in one way or another, as Spider-Man, have caused them major trouble. And I mean major trouble.
Right.
Dr. Octopus. Let's just put this straight out. I believe that Dr. Octopus is his greatest arch nemesis ever.
If you're looking to me to disagree with you, I got some bad news for you. I'm right there with you. No argument for me. So if you were hoping to get some discussion,
no,
I can't help you. He's my pick too.
Yeah, no, he's a brilliant mind, and of course I might be using the film's version for my story here, but
that's fine.
The film's version of the story kind of it captures all of Dr. Octopus, all of the Dr. Octopussies.
Sure.
Wow, I used the Dr. Octopussy joke.
There you go.
Hold on.
Phrasing, Lana.
I'm doing a little bit. I'm doing a little bit more advertising here.
That's okay.
Talking about Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah, we're talking about Spider-Man.
Though I do hope someday we do get some of the weirder stuff from the comics. Have you ever read the comic My Enemy, My Uncle?
No. Well, I'm not entirely... Okay, in the same way that you said, hold on, I'm on a thing.
Oh, yeah. Go for it. Sorry.
Allow me to continue with Dr. Octopus. Okay.
Go for it. Floor is yours.
Both of them... Okay, Spider-Man is actually a genius. Peter Parker... Yes, he was bitten by a radioactive spider. Congratulations. You now have magical genetic powers. That's not what makes him Spider-Man, though.
Indeed.
Spider-Man is a genius.
He is.
The original Peter... Okay, so in the mangaverse, Peter Parker, he was being the father of Penny Parker. And also, Penny Parker shows up in different versions of the Spider-Verse as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's shown up as he and Gwen's daughter, and also he and Mary Jane's daughter.
Yep.
So Penny is official and canon and legit.
Sure.
Not just, oh, well, that's just that one side of the universe, blah, 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 blah. No.
I mean, as much as any other character.
So, Peter has this unique ability of, it's kind of like Batman, which is why there's always an argument of who's better, Spider-Man or Batman. That was always the argument in the 90s, kind of like who's better, Mario or Sonic.
Sure.
Both characters did the exact kind of same thing for each episode in their 90s animated series. And to be honest, throughout their comics as well. They're both effectively American ninjas.
Yeah, in a sense.
And they lose the first time that they come across an opponent, but then they learn from said opponent, and then they study said opponent, and then they come up with the strategy to destroy the opponent. They both do exactly the same thing.
Yeah. A couple different minor differences, but in broad strokes, very similar.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying. When it comes to Dr. Octopus, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Octopus, brilliant villain. Basically, he's extraordinarily misunderstood. In some universes, he's actually truly evil. In others, he's just working for an evil man. In other cases, he's just doing the corporate thing, trying to make the world a better place, and then due to horrible circumstances, this is usually the case in all of the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man has to come in and stop him.
Right.
And it's like, I want to find the ultimate source of energy, or I'm just trying to get a job, or I'm just doing this for Osborn so that I could,
right,
so I can, make my daily living, so that I can do the research and stuff that I want to be doing. To bet, he usually starts off with good intentions, but he's under the hands of darker people, darker, nastier, more evil people. I don't believe that Octopus is evil at all from the beginning, which is why I think Spider-Man 2 is fantastic, because it shows that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Spider-Man, unfortunately, because he knows where his employer is coming from, has to stop the octopus. They are foils in the fact that spiders have 8 legs. Octopi have 8 legs.
Mm-hmm.
They are both brilliant minds. They have both been fused with their powers by by natural means, but unintentional natural means.
Sure.
Peter was bitten by a radioactive spider. In various versions, sometimes that spider was actually specifically designed to be incredible. In other cases, the spider just happened to fall through a laser beam and then bit him. So it's just this weird combination of circumstance. Same thing with Dr. Octopus. He's had explosions happen to him. He's had full-fledged, he is putting them into his body. He's had the entire gambit in between.
Yeah.
And every time Octavius is trying to do what he believes is the right thing, and Spider-Man is trying to do what he believes is the right thing, and every time Peter Parker is stopping and destroying Octavius's plan. I ask you this. In this situation, who is the actual villain? This is the challenge I present to you. Octavius or Parker?
As a crazy old wizard once said, I think that'll greatly depend on your point of view.
A certain point of view?
Exactly.
That's a great answer right there. As opposed to last week,
where we were
where I think everybody was a little bit more diverse and combaty. I think this is actually more of a love story this episode.
Hey, there you go. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that either.
Oh man. And Dr. Octopus just gets more and more frustrated, more pissed off, because yes, there is this anarchy that comes from Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Peter didn't intend it to happen this way. But it's just a series of unfortunate events.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about the Kingpin.
Yeah, let's talk about the Kingpin.
I don't know.
Who was originally a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
Before Daredevil hijacked him.
Well, I like the fact that Daredevil was a part of that story.
Right.
It added a lot of additional dimension. But I feel like the Kingpin is kind of like the what's his name to Superman?
Oh, Lex Luthor?
Oh, he's definitely the Lex Luthor. As Lex Luthor is to Superman, Kingpin is to Spider-Man.
A little bit of that.
Because
he's definitely a good organized crime villain.
He's a crime villain. Well, let's also talk about this, is that Gotham was always meant to be a metaphor for New York.
Okay.
Whereas Spider-Man was just straight up in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And Kingpin was exposing the entire concept of how the mafia and crime were owning everything, but they were doing so politically. The Kingpin was always working politically. He was always doing things properly. He wanted to do it right. But at the same time, he was always prepared if somebody came in and took him out. He knew how to defend himself. He knew how to defend his people, his top people. He knew who would rat him out. All of those things. Correct me if I'm wrong. And there's no answer to that.
Yeah.
But he was disgustingly nasty. He hired people to invest in the medical corporations that messed around with biological transformations. Like, for example, Oscorp.
Right.
He invested in Oscorp. Oh, this web gets thicker and thicker. See, this is why I love Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
It just gets so much more complicated the more you go.
I mean, he's been around for the better part of, oh goodness, almost 60 years now. So.
I was about to say 70 years.
Let's see.
Spider-Man, the first episode, was in the 40s.
No, he was 60s.
What?
You're thinking of Superman or Batman. They were the 40s.
Original Marvel Spider-Man.
Marvel Comics did not exist until the 60s. Before that was Timely Comics.
Timely Comics, I think that Timely Comics did do the first Spider-Man episode?
Spider-Man was a creation of Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Let me see. Let me look up Spider-Man comics.
Because it was Amazing Comics. It was Amazing Comics.
Amazing Fantasy.
Amazing Fantasy, I'm sorry, you're right.
Written in the August. It was number 15, August in 1962.
Alright, well, here I stand, absolutely wrong.
That's okay. You
I
were so close.
I happily accept me being wrong. Not an issue.
Not a problem, yeah. But yeah, about 60 years now. Almost coming up on that in a couple more years. That's a lot of time to write a lot of intertwined stuff. And he's been going strong since the 60s. This isn't like a Shazam Captain Marvel where there were things tied up in rights battles for a long... I mean, yes, there were rights battles, but that didn't stop the comics from being made.
Captain Marvel was owned by, I don't know. Captain Marvel was owned by everybody.
One point or another, yeah.
Pretty much.
That's a whole other topic.
Yeah. We can talk. I mean, I can do some research and talk about Captain Marvel later.
Whole other topic. No worries there.
All right. Back to Pidy.
Right.
Who's your favorite Spider-Man? Which universe version?
Which universe version would be my favorite Spider-Man? I don't know if this is my favorite, but it's one that immediately came to mind as one that just brings me great joy. The Japanese Spider-Man live-action show.
Oh no!
From the 70s.
The Saito, the Super Sentai version.
Yeah, I don't know if he's Sentai, but at least he's definitely in the vein of your common writers.
He's not Super Sentai, but yeah, it's the same writers.
See, actually, let me look this up since I'm already on Google. Japanese Spider-Man.
The Japanese Spider-Man.
Where he has a giant robot.
Yes, the giant.
And he's like
the kaiju Spider-Man.
Because they basically completely Tokusatsu. It's Tokusatsu's television series. They completely rewrote everything about him. Yeah,
well,
plot. Young motorcycle racer Takuya Yamashiro sees a UFO falling to Earth. In fact, a space warship named the Marvelier. Takuya's father, Dr. Hiroshi Yamashiro, a space archaeologist, investigates the case, but is killed upon finding the spaceship.
Question.
The incident also attracts the attention of Professor Monster and his evil Iron Cross army, an alien group that plans to rule the universe. Takuya follows his father to the Marvelier and discovers Garia, the last surviving warrior of Planet Spider, a world that was destroyed by Professor Monster and his Iron Cross army. Garia explains that he was hunting Professor Monster, but now needs someone to carry on the fight, and he injects Takuya with some of his own blood. The blood of a person from Planet Spider gives Takuya spider-like powers. He then gives Takuya a bracelet that can activate his spider protector costume, shoot web lines, and control the Marveler spaceship, which can transform into a giant battle robot called Leopardon.
I don't even know how to even anymore.
That is...
I don't even know how to even anymore.
I don't know where you find these episodes, but if you can get all of them and watch them.
Please tell me that Spider-Man becomes the father of Penny Parker in the manga verse.
Could be. Very well could be.
It's the most ridiculous thing.
You know, the Toei company, the same company behind Godzilla and all those, and the Power Rangers and all them. That's their take. And the funny thing is, like, you can see the little bits and pieces in there that are like, oh yeah, they know Spider-Man, they know how it works, you know, spider powers and all that, but just they take it in this beautifully tokusatsu angle. And I've seen a couple episodes of this. It's a hoot. It is straight up a hoot. It is bananas. It is buck wild. You will... Nothing is what you would expect it to be, but it is still wonderful.
Okay. We have a potential guest.
Oh.
Your boy James. You know your boy James? He was here before. Bruh, he's gonna be in here.
Awesome.
It should make a podcast. This is the freaking podcast, you dork butt. Alright. Well, I invited your boy James.
Cool. Be happy to have him.
Oh, he actually can't join us right now. So unfortunately.
Okay, well, when he's ready.
Oh well.
These meme suck says that I like Spider-Man Noir. Spider-Man Noir is great.
Oh my gosh, in Spider-Verse, it made me so happy that they had Spider-Man Noir, and it made me even more happy that they had Nicolas Cage doing the voice.
That was some inspired casting.
Just
real.
Straight up, like, sometimes I let the match burn down to my fingers so I can actually feel something. And I'm like, oh god.
There's always wind. There's always a little bit of rain whenever it's focusing on him.
Is there a wind in here? I thought we were underground. Wherever I go, the wind follows. I'm just like...
It's beautiful.
I'm just like, Nicolas Cage, thank you. Thank you so much for this.
It was beautiful. It was his gift to us.
It was such a gift.
What could we have possibly done as a civilization to deserve this? Nothing. I posit nothing.
Boy. Oh.
Very good. And even just like in video games, Spider-Man Noir has shown up, and he's very good in that too.
Spider-Man Noir is awesome.
It's a great idea.
Always was.
Literally, 40s. If Spider-Man were a 40s pulp action hero, noir action hero, yep. Wonderful idea.
Like on... Oh, he's saying like on Spotify or something. We could probably probably try to pull that off, but the main point, and I'm not doing it right now. I should be, but to be honest, I'm a little emotionally discouraged at the moment from what happened to me personally this week. Not gonna go into any details.
No worries.
But normally I'd be drawing on Sundays. Oh! Wonderful little segue here.
Hey, there you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, normally most of the time on Sundays during this show, you can ask me to draw a picture for you. We actually have a oh gosh, what's it called? My brain is breaking right now.
Sorry, man. But we'd have a thing where you could make requests. You could pay a little bit of money.
Requests. You can pay. You can pay to. It's $5 for 5 minutes drawing. $15 for a 15-minute drawing, and then at the last hour, $65, and I just completely dedicate everything to it.
You get an hour.
Oh, it's Patreon. Why am I an idiot and not remember that? I feel.
To your credit, I couldn't say it either, so that's on both of us.
Okay. Well,
that's on both of us.
All right. Well, either way, speaking of which, we still do have someone who's working with us.
Yeah.
They're called True Apparel. You know, True Apparel is pretty cool. They have basically the availability and technology to be able to create all of your nerd and or game-centrical apparel that you desire. True Apparel. TRU Apparel. You can find them on Twitter. You can find them on Facebook. And you can find them on Instagram. All you need to do is just simply go to their all you need to do is simply go to their one of their many, places that I just mentioned, and just request it. If you have artwork, then they'll be more than happy to print it for you. It's very comfortable outfit. Wow, I'm really sounding like I'm stuttering here. But the cloth is very comfortable. The quality of work I have seen is top notch. And if you need some work to be done, they have graphic designers, and also I am also a graphic designer, and you can probably get me to do that picture here, or behind the scenes, and send it straight to True Apparel. So don't forget to check out True Apparel. That's TRU Apparel. Anyway, I just
wanted to reiterate, they do indeed have great designs. That's not just Coop saying that. I concur. They are a good company. Check them out.
Thank you. All right. Well, let's talk about the darker side of the Spider-Verse.
No, okay.
Let's talk about the Clone Wars.
Oh, the clones.
Oh, the clones.
Ben Reilly.
Ben Reilly. Okay. Oh.
You were my brother.
Mentioned. Okay. You mentioned who your favorite Spider-Man was.
I did. Yeah.
Ben Reilly
you're
is
Ben
mine.
Reilly.
Is mine.
Yeah.
He is my favorite Spider-Man. I freaking love Ben Reilly. When I lose some more pounds, I am going to cosplay as the Scarlet Spider.
It's a cool costume.
2 words. Sleeveless hoodie.
Yeah. No, it's a great costume, that one. Oh, man. I'm trying to right now remember, because, like, Ben Reilly is the first, right?
He's...
The first clone that shows up.
This is the question. This is the real question. And this actually ties into the question of the movie The Spider-Verse. Is Ben Reilly actually the original Peter Parker?
I feel like they answered that at some point, and the answer was, nah, we were just fooling, and Peter Parker is the original. Because in a way, you remember the whole One More Day, Brand New Day thing?
Yes.
Where they were worried that Peter Parker was no longer relatable because he's married and is doing married man things.
Yeah.
And they still want to have a cool, hip teen Peter Parker.
Yeah, and that's why they bounced around with a couple of different Spideys.
Ben Reilly was kind of their first attempt to do that.
Yeah.
Because when Ben Reilly takes over, like, Peter Parker loses his powers, he moves away with Mary Jane, and it's kind of like the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths, where original flavor Superman and Lois Lane and Superboy go off to quote unquote, comic book heaven, and the rest of the DC universe gets to do their thing. It was kind of the same thing where Peter Parker moves away with Mary Jane, and don't worry, he's still going to be fine doing his own thing, but now we have this new Peter Parker. He's totally the real Peter Parker. Wink, wink, kind of, the thing comics always does where they do a major status quo shakeup, but that was their attempt to be like, hey, no, this is Spider-Man, because we want to do new things with Spider-Man that we couldn't do with Peter Parker anymore with all the continuity that he's built up. So here's our new Spider-Man, and that's where you got Ben Reilly.
I freaking love Ben Reilly.
Yeah.
Well, this is why I think that Ben Reilly is actually the Peter Parker, Okay, so into the multiverse, right?
Right.
You have the first Spider-Man who has the traditional Peter Parker brown hair.
Sure.
Right? He's the one that dies. Then you have the blonde hair one, which I believe is to be the Ben Reilly one.
Could be.
The one that...
Because Ben Reilly's usually depicted as having blonde hair, if I remember right.
Uh-huh. But at the same time, he follows the story of the... Well, I mean, clearly this is a different dimension of Spider-Man.
Right.
It's like if Ben Reilly was Peter Parker and he was the Parker from 616 where everything went wrong.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know, 617 or 615?
I forget exactly, but
it's one of the two next over it. Is what I'm guessing. And
probably.
And he's just like, man, you just got to get over it. You just got to just take the punches and just not even give a shit anymore. But what I love about that movie is that he has a character arc where working with the other Spider-Men and women, he regains his confidence. And then we... Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. I am so sorry. As much as I love Ben Reilly, Miles Morales is actually my favorite Spider-Man.
Ben, You were my brother.
I mean,
Do you remember?
I'm sorry. It's just everything about him is so potent. I love Miles Morales.
Oh yeah, no. Miles is a great addition to that mythos.
He is the epitome of today's Spider-Man.
Yeah. And it introduces the idea of legacy into Spider-Man, which I think was the one thing Spider-Man was kind of missing. Is okay, but what happens when Peter Parker can no longer be Spider-Man? Because eventually that day is going to come.
It's just really sad because in the comics, Miles Morales' comics didn't last for very long. It only lasted for like a season.
They picked him up in some other places. He's still getting comics now.
No, now definitely. But I mean, they
scrapped
him.
Ultimate
but I mean,
universe.
they scrapped him for the Ultimate Universe.
Because they were scrapping the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
Because the Ultimate Universe is gone now. It's no longer a thing. So they had to kind of scrap his story, do some shuffling shenanigans, and then plop him over in 616 and say, hey, look, it's Miles Morales, the one thing we're saving from
yes.
the Ultimate Universe.
Spectacular Universe is working. It's said that Ultimate had to go. I think that the Cinematic Universe is effectively the Ultimate Universe.
Could be.
Or a version of the Ultimate Universe.
Could very well be.
It's a shame that I don't have anybody else in this chat that could potentially add their 2 cents.
Speaking of people adding their 2 cents, we got a comment here from These Memes Suck. A new idea. If there are many universes with different Spider-Men, how accurate are the universes? Are they like a new Spider-Man accurate, or are they like Spider-Man Noir is left-handed? He furthermore says, or are they so accurate that the only change is that there is an atom here where in the other universes there isn't? And to that, all I can say is maybe.
I'm gonna say this.
Go for it.
Okay. In terms of storytelling, you don't actually want to think that deeply. And as a receiver, as an entertainer, or as the one being entertained is what I mean. I apologize. You don't want it to be that specific. It can be fun that way, especially if they intend it to be that way. But simply take it as entertainment. So, for example, let's talk about the time. How many times has you know what? Okay. I'm just gonna go straight to the 90s animated Spider-Man comic.
By all means.
Not or cartoon series with Madam Web.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it? They had their version of it wasn't Endgame, it was something else. I can't remember.
Right.
But basically there was an entire room full of Spider-Men.
Mm-hmm.
This was before even Spider-Woman, Spider-Gwen. This was before all of that. So this is before we as a media culture became progressive, unfortunately. Because I would have freaking loved to see Spider-Gwen in that series.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That was the smartest thing they've done with her character in a long time.
Oh, she was great. Okay, so let's consider this.
Okay.
Brain attempting to function.
Think, brain, think.
So you have all these different Spider-Men.
Mm-hmm.
One was, well, the animated series Spider-Man. One was Iron Spider-Man, where everyone knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, like Iron Man, and made his own Iron Spider suit.
Right.
There was also the Fat Spider. He was a chubby guy who had the What is my cat doing? Who had the Dr. Octopus arms attached to him. There was that Spider-Man. And there was Ben Reilly. Scarlet Spider was there.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that there was one other, but I can't recall what his deal was.
Talk about some of the other various clones, like Kane.
Oh no!
Or Spider-Side.
No. No, actually, I think it was a team of 5, because I believe the 5th one.
Oh,
he was the actor. He was the actor that was playing Spider-Man in the Spider-Man movie.
Right. Yeah.
And that was released at the same time that the Spider-Man movie was coming out.
Right.
So it's and what's
there was like the Gathering of the Five. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Gathering of the Five, and what's really funny is that he was like, I don't know how to help you guys. I'm just a dude. I'm just an actor. I don't know how to. I can't even do. And they're like, don't worry, bro. You got this. We got you covered. And Madam Web's like, yeah, you're stuck here. There's nothing you can do. He's like, I guess we have to work with this. And so what's really funny is that
storyline,
he ends up actually being one of the most key elements to solving the problem.
I remember this.
I'm not gonna spoil anything, but the actor ends up being like he just jumps in and goes, yeah, I'm Spider-Man, da 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 da, and it's a complete distraction, whereas all the other real Spider-Men are doing shit, trying to destroy the dimensional hopping symbiotes.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm just like, what the... I recently watched this like maybe 5 years ago, and I'm like, the fuck am I watching?
Right. I remember reading this when it was a comic story. It was weird.
I followed the comics back in the 90s originally, so watching it and reading it, I was just like, is this for real? Like, didn't they have like a comic that was called like...
No, they had the comic, The Gathering of the Five, and the final chapter.
No. Didn't they have a comic that was called like 99 Ways to End the Cloneverse?
Oh, probably like a what if?
Yeah, where it was like I think it was like maybe 25 short stories on how they could end the Clone Saga.
Yeah. That sounds like a thing they would do.
They knew that it was ridiculous, and they just went, yeah, you know what? Let's just...
It's comics, you know.
Come on, let's just have some fun.
Exactly.
They knew.
Okay, you guys know what the deal is.
So to answer your question, these memes suck. In some cases in the Spider-Verse, yes, that atom that is right next to your hand is one atom over. And in another universe, another atom over. And in another universe, another atom over. And then you keep going to the point where Peter Parker is practically Iron Man. Then you get to a point where now there are clones of Peter Parker in the same universe, and they're all dimensional hopping.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have an entire universe where Venom completely takes over everything and everyone. That's called the Venomverse.
Yep.
Have you ever considered the concept of Venom Wolverine? That is the most frightening thing I've ever thought of. I am afraid that this is a thing, that somebody actually conceived this idea. It's horrifying.
That's pretty bad. A Carnage Wolverine, not much better.
Oh my god! I was also thinking a Carnage Wolverine.
Carnage.
Where
Carnage.
each one of his spikes comes out as a different weapon. One being a blade, one being a chainsaw, one being a spinning blade, the other one being a bullet gun, or like a machine gun.
Why not?
Why not? It's just... Hello, gentlemen.
It's gone. Have you seen the new Venom movie?
Yes.
You saw the scene at the end with Woody Harrelson as...
if they don't call it Maximum Carnage, I am going to...
Carnage.
It's just called Carnage.
It's gonna be Carnage.
If they don't call the movie Maximum Carnage,
oh, I know,
I'm going to be disappointed.
That would be rad.
But
that would be rad.
Carnage, I like all I'm sitting here going, when are they going to release the deleted scenes from the film so that I can get the uncut version of Venom? Because apparently there's an hour and 20 minutes that was cut.
Oh, really? Wow.
And he said, and the actor, what's his name, said he...
shoot.
All of the minutes that they cut out of the film were his favorite minutes. Those were his favorite parts. He was like, and do you want to know the reason why they cut those out? Simply because they wanted to integrate Venom into the Spider-Verse with Marvel, which equals Disney. So, they had to be kind. They had to be nice. And I'm like, give me the full dark version of Venom. I own the first 3 comics of the Venom comic. Mm-hmm. That comic is insane. He goes up against the Punisher. Not in the first 3 comics. He's fighting somebody else. I can't remember who.
Right.
But it is a horrifying comic series. It is violent and bloody and destructive.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved every inch of it. And when I saw and so, you know, like when I saw Spider-Man 3, I was like, the, the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I have, you know, there are elements to praise the Spider-Man 3 for, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, at least Sandman actually had a character arc.
Yeah, you can kind of tell that's what the original movie was going to be about in its original form, and then a lot of stuff got bolted on top of that.
And there were 5 actors attached, and not 5 actors, 5 writers attached to that film.
Yeah.
Each trying to tell their own story.
Could be worse. Could be like the 9 or 11 or so that were attached to Catwoman.
Either way,
one of whom I really like. I like John Rogers, but
either way,
I think he said in the end, like only like one of his
not,
scenes got in.
It's not that. I mean, like, I don't want to admit that it exists, but it's not that bad of a film.
Right.
It has its charm, and it. For example, when Peter goes to the bell tower and starts smashing it to use the sound to get rid of the symbiote suit.
Yes.
Every shot is exact to the original comic. Every angle. It perfectly reflects the comics. Every shot. I mean, there's so much about Spider-Man 3. The more that I actually think about it, because I've been thinking about it a lot in the last few months, the more I actually love about it.
Sure.
I mean,
like you said, it's got a lot of charm.
It has a lot of charm. There's a lot of stupid bullshit in there, and really, do we need to see our hero cry that much?
Yeah.
Because the way that I see that the symbiote works in every other source of media, it doesn't turn Peter into a whiny bitch. It turns Peter into a disgustingly angry force in which to be reckoned with.
It turns him into an asshole.
A complete asshole. A monster. And it wasn't a proper match with he and Peter, which is why during the scene of the bell tower,
right,
once it connects to Eddie, they completely connect. Because the symbiote is angry because it couldn't connect to Peter.
Right.
And Eddie is furious over all of the bullshit that Peter has done to him.
Right.
Now they blow over that relationship between Eddie and Peter completely. I think you know what? I think that's the worst part of the film. Is that they minimalize the relationship between Peter and Eddie.
Yeah, I mean it's already a story that's juggling a lot of threads, and something had to give, and in this case it was that relationship between Peter and Eddie.
Yeah. But, so they connect, as Venom does,
Mm-hmm.
and they missed out on the one thing that I wanted them to say.
Oh, yeah.
I think I mentioned this before in a previous podcast, did I not?
I think so. Sounds familiar, but that's fine.
Where Eddie is holding Peter in the final battle. And Eddie says, "Do you remember when you did this? Do you remember when you took my job? Do you remember when you stole my girlfriend? Do you remember when you did this?" And he said like a few other things.
Mm-hmm. Got a whole list. Yep.
All they had to do to redeem the entire film for me was for the mask to carry over and say, "We do."
Right.
Because the symbiote would have known and Eddie would have known.
Right.
They missed the perfect opportunity that would have redeemed the entire film.
Yeah, for you, yeah. I think for me, I would have liked I don't mind having multiple villains, but I would have liked to have my Sandman villain movie, which I think could have been a solid movie by itself.
Oh yeah, no. I feel like it should have been broken up into Spider-Man 3 and 4.
Yeah, should have.
Sandman being 3, setting up for Venom for 4. However, the final battle actually holds a lot of really great visual metaphor.
Sure.
Sandman looming over Peter as the ultimate battle of the past. And that happens just after him dealing with and fighting through his present and potential future problems, which is what Venom and the Green Goblin represent. I understand what the film is trying to do. I do understand what the film is trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is that it's too much in a 2-hour film.
Yeah. I agree. I hate to interrupt you, but I believe one of our special guests is ready to be added in.
Oh, let's see here. Who do we have? Oh. Well, then let's Saito. Jumping in. Hi. And maybe even Yaboy James is not going to be able to join in, but Sasha. Oh, actually, let's just hop over to the Tridorks actual channel.
Let's do it.
Here we go. Sorry, folks, having a little bit of a technical difficulty here, and we are jumping over to the recording booth. And there we go.
Seamless transition.
Yes. Completely seamless. Sasha, join.
Sashimi. Join us. Oh.
Oh. Okay, that's awkward.
Oh.
Well, all right. I thought Sasha was available.
They just sent a message, I thought.
Yeah, I thought so too. Okay, well, anyway, sorry about that, folks. So we've talked about we've talked about various different Spider-Mans.
Mm-hmm.
We've who wants to talk? Oh, let's talk about Spider-Man's technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a whole bunch of weird stuff going on. All the way from web shooters to.
Oh, there's a question before we move on that. Do you have a preference one way or the other versus mechanical web shooters versus the organic web shooters from the movies or the first movie?
I prefer, in terms of story wise, I prefer the mechanical shooters
because of the aspect of ammo.
Yes.
That he might run out of ammo of.
Correct.
Web swinging stuff. Yeah.
Correct.
I mostly agree, although I also kind of feel the same way about. Like, I agree mechanical web shooters is cool because that shows how smart he is being able to come up with them.
Yeah, I mean,
I dislike the ammo thing because to me it's the same as a lot of superheroes will introduce tension in the way of like Iron Man, like, oh, if I run out of battery, the shrapnel in my heart will, start to drift and maybe kill me.
Oh, look, it's a thing that I need to live. Hope that this doesn't go out.
It becomes repetitive. And just like I'm okay with it if it shows up every once in a while, but there are sometimes, especially, this is more of a problem in the comics, where it's just like, oh, here we go. They need to introduce tension, so he's out of web slinging juice. Oh, I wonder how we'll get out of it this time. Will it be like the millions of other times this has happened? Granted, if they figure out a new way to get around it,
other times
it can be fun.
Done it.
I guess, it's, after a while it stops being a problem because, he's like, it's not like kryptonite where it's like, well, it's just gonna kill him if he's introduced to it. But even then, like lead, like there's always a bit of lead around when Superman needs it.
He's like,
it's kind of like,
it's like, oh god, okay, just plug in your web shooter and, oh shit, I'm all out. You see him falling. He's like, okay, I have other ones. I've got the cement one. That's not gonna work. I've got this one. That's not gonna work. I've got the electrical one. That's really gonna fuck things up. Oh look. There's a string that I can grab as I fall.
There you go.
He just does the traditional, like, falls through just a bunch of, like, clothing, just boosh.
Exactly.
Well, I like how they did pull that off because that always was a struggle with him losing his webbing, right?
Right, yeah.
I loved how they actually pulled that off in the films. Where he, out of stress and anxiety, he was losing his webbing, which actually caused him to kind of temporarily not really lose his ability, but lose the ability to produce it or use it.
Right.
But then when he got in the zone, like when he was fighting Doc Ock on the train, that's when he completely recaptured himself and just was webbing everything up, just trying to stop that train. It was a beautiful homage to a traditional Spidey problem, but also had a really great message where it's like you can feel like you're going through all sorts of shit. You can feel like you can't do what you normally would be capable of doing. But once you get into your zone, get back into that zone, you're incredible. And you're going to do it. And it's going to work. Which is also kind of the story about Spider-Man. Basically, just step up to the plate and fucking do it. Stop letting the stress of life get through you. RJ, you remember two nights ago.
Mm-hmm.
Or 3 nights. Was it 2 nights ago?
About, roughly, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I fell to my knees, completely distraught over what yeah, it was Friday.
Yep.
Completely distraught, seeing what was happening to my life.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I did? I went to work the next day.
There you go.
And I kicked ass.
You sure did.
It's all you need to do. You need to step up, make those webs. Some days, sure. As a spider, you might need to kind of hide in your little hole. But you need to take the opportunities whenever you can. Learn your enemies. Learn how they work. Take advantage. And strike. Spiders are an intelligent species. A lot of people don't think so, because people just think of them as just simply bugs.
Oh, hold on a sec. I'm seeing an issue with the reason why Saito couldn't join us earlier. I guess they're locked out of the recording booth.
Oh, interesting.
He was just posting in the text chat.
Oh, it's because it's Saito. It's not Sasha. That's why. Roles performer.
There you go.
There she goes. Or there he goes.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Saito should be able to join now at any time. You should be able to join. But spiders are intelligent species.
Right.
This is something that a lot of people don't seem to understand. Is we as humans tend to be extremely prideful, and we tend to. Yes.
Alex,
Yes.
brought you a little something from some food if you want it.
I will in a moment. Thank you. I apologize for that. Apparently, they got me something special to eat.
Cool.
If Saito can join, I don't understand why they cannot. Then maybe you two can talk about Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Special guest. How about now? Interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for this inconvenience. Oh, there we go.
Hey, there we are.
We have
Player 3 has joined.
Welcome.
Hello!
Thank God. Oh my God, I have not heard you this positive in a long time.
You haven't heard me this what?
Positive. And energetic. Did I stutter?
You know what? Let me turn off my Wi-Fi. I think that might be my problem here.
Well, I mean, you're coming through just fine. I can hear you. Can you not hear us?
I can hear Dak.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Well, uh-huh.
Welcome back.
All right. What did you hear? What did you not hear?
You're here now.
We
Congratulations.
heard everything. Yeah.
Woohoo!
Let me talk to you about... Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. Because I
Minor
know,
thing.
Saito, Sasha, you are not going to enjoy this topic. Because we were talking about Spider-Man.
Oh, it's not that I don't enjoy it. It's just
No.
I don't know much.
I'm going to be discussing about spiders.
Not a big deal as long as I don't have to see them.
Nope, you don't have to see them. So the cool thing about spiders,
Then I'm
most of the case, folks tend to think that they're, just dumb little bugs. Well, don't forget that they've been evolving with more... Okay, evolution works on a scale of generations. They have had more generations than we have had as humans and previous versions of humans and Homo erectus and etc., etc., etc.
Well, spiders don't live as long, and therefore they reproduce faster.
Exactly. They reproduce extraordinarily rapidly. But they are extraordinarily intelligent creatures. They actually are. How the brain system works. So we have a very large brain, and we've got all sorts of, we've got two halves, we have lobes, we've got all sorts of bullshit, which allow us to operate everything, and then most of our consciousness is just in a small corner, usually in the front. But spiders are unique. There's also a difference between the web spiders and the wandering spiders. Webbed spiders, completely blind. They can't see anything, but they can feel and hear everything.
Right.
And they also know where every single line of webbing is.
Mm-hmm.
They know their webs. And the weird thing is that even though you can have the same species of spider, give them the exact same position and scenario for them to make a web.
Give one cocaine, and the web will be completely different.
Please.
And don't forget, if you give one of them THC, they'll build a hammock.
I'm going to hurt you?
How? I'm like a 48-hour drive away. Like, how are you gonna manage that?
I have the gas. I have your address.
I've got gas!
Gas for days.
I don't have the passport, though.
Aww. 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Was that a meatloaf reference?
Was it anything else? I grew up on 70s, 80s music.
We're talking about
Yeah.
Spider-Man and spiders. Gosh dang it, why do you have to derail me? It's good to have a third person. It's good to have a third person in the show.
Exactly.
Yay! It's now officially a threesome.
But basically,
Now-
you can give every spider the exact same scenario, the exact same cage, the exact same twig, and each one of them will make a slightly different web. Their
Webs are like fingerprints.
Yeah, webs are like fingerprints. Mm-hmm.
Haha! I'm smart.
Congratulations. You can thought.
I am
Look
smart.
at this guy condescending me.
SMRT.
Whoop de
I am
do.
just smart.
Except I don't feel like setting my house on fire, so.
Yeah,
Not
don't
that
do
smart.
that. That's
I'm not that
that's. Let's not do that.
Anyway, so we were talking about Spider-Man.
Okay, I'm a little more well versed in Spider-Man than I am with spiders because spiders used
in
to
some
completely
cases,
freak me out.
in some cases, spiders will be retractive. You know, they'll be reclusive. They'll hide in their little hole and try to defend themselves.
Trapdoor spiders are fucking creepy.
They're awesome, but they are creepy.
They're fucking creepy. It's
They
like,
are
oh hey, look,
awesome.
please, oh my god, there's something under it.
I've owned 2 different trapdoor spiders. One was actually very poisonous.
Woo. Oh my.
Poisonous or venomous? There's a difference.
No, actually very venomous.
There we go. Because if it was poisonous, you couldn't touch it.
Yeah, no, it was extraordinarily venomous. Worse than
that's only a demo.
worse than the
That's
American
okay.
Black Widow.
Oof.
However, wandering spiders are a lot of fun because, you know, they do weave certain webs, but jumping spiders, oh my gosh, they are incredible. They are always exploring, always discovering, and just like every hair on their body is receiving sounds, just nothing but like their hairs, all of the fuzzy hairs that you see on spiders, those are their ears. It's just like they get it, and they have these huge bulging eyes in the front with like a bunch of little dots around their head, and all the little dots are receiving light and dark signals. That's all it really does. Light and dark signals. It's like close your eyes and cover your eye, and then with your hand, and then move your move your hand away from your eyes that are closed, and then go back and forth, you know, where it's like you can tell that it's like light, dark, light, dark. That's how most of the time spiders see. But wandering spiders, they have those big eyes.
Oh yeah, very cute.
Super cute. And jumping spiders are very friendly. This is why I say, like,
Oh, yeah.
I agree with the concept of the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Jumping spiders are extraordinarily friendly, and when they jump, they swing. They swing their webs.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man
Like the
Spider-Man is a jumping spider.
I can see it.
The science behind how radioactive spider bites would work is actually incredibly fascinating. Because science did a really good video on it. Actually,
Did they? Now, who is they in science?
About the,
hold on 1 second. It's a YouTube channel called, I believe it's called Because Science.
Oh,
Mm.
okay.
Because science. Yeah, it's called Because Science. He's a guy with dark hair, but like it's like blonde from like the temples downward. He does a lot of things. He explained Chernobyl, why you don't actually want super strength, why you don't want teleportation. Ant-Man versus Thanos' butt.
Oh, Thanos. Wonderful.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty certain. Okay, I haven't watched it, but let me make a guess. When it comes to
Guys,
the why you
freaking
don't
brilliant.
want teleportation, because it actually kills the original you and it makes a copy of you.
Like Star Trek teleportation,
It literally
like transporters.
it literally destroys you and kills you, and then a clone of you appears on the other end.
Yep.
Yeah, no,
'Cause
I
every
am
single
definitely
molecule is
I am
copied
definitely
and then-
afraid of teleportation. I'd rather have a door to walk through.
You want a warp pipe.
Yeah, I don't want to teleport because every time you teleport, you die.
At least
I mean, I'll
you
settle
wouldn't
for
fear
flight.
death.
Huh?
You wouldn't fear death anymore.
Hopefully not.
Anyway, so
Here we are.
Do we have much
All
left
right, I
to
found it. I'm sharing it in our channel there for you guys.
Do
Oh,
we
nice.
have? Okay, so while we're kind of going through this random little block of blah, let's talk about True Apparel. True Apparel makes nerd and game-centric apparel, clothing that's very comfortable. They have graphic designers, and also, if you happen to have a design already made, you're more than welcome to pass it on to them and request it to be made for you. And also, if you don't have something to be made, I am more than happy to help produce that for you at a
You're gonna whore your art out.
at a minimal cost, of course.
Of course. Minimal cost.
And I'm going to, of course, throw you under the bus. Sasha, you
Oh
have
my
some...
god, you said you wouldn't do this!
You
You lied to me! You liar!
You apparently have some apparel from True Apparel, do you not?
Yes, I do.
How does it
I
feel?
was actually sponsored by them for my Twitch and Twitter. And so they sent me a very nice, comfortable cotton shirt, just plain black shirt, but the logo that I picked or design was incredible and spoke to my generations of being a retro gamer. I have a classic regular Nintendo controller being, held in a fist. Very, very reminiscent of the Completionists logo, but also very unique. And it is seriously my favorite shirt. I wish I had like 4 more so that I didn't have to worry and I could be all like, yeah, no, I'm not wearing the same shirt every day. I got 5 of these fuckers.
So either way, folks, don't forget about True Apparel. They're awesome.
Highly recommended.
TRU Apparel. You can find them on
Yes,
Twitter,
and
Facebook, and Instagram. At
yes,
them and contact them directly.
I will be sharing their information on my Twitter as well. So if anybody is interested in getting the information, check out at Sasha_pause on Twitter.
There we go. There it is. Well, there it
Aha! Subtle plug.
Nice,
There we go.
nice.
is. Okay. Well then, now let's talk about the most fun part of Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
The wicked web that is the Spider-Verse.
Sure.
All right, definitely
We
at a
have-
disadvantage here, so I will be more than happy to pipe in as soon as I have anything to say.
We've already discussed the Clone Wars. We've discussed Ben Reilly. We've discussed 616 Spider-Man. We've discussed Miles Morales.
Have you talked about Spider-Man Noir yet?
Yes, we have
We did
discussed
briefly.
a little bit. If you guys want to dive into Spider-Noir, that's fine.
I honestly don't know much about it, other than what little I played for that Wii game way back in the day.
What about you, RJ? How much do you have to say about Spider-Noir?
I like him. I think I mentioned that earlier, but yeah, like I said, it's a fun idea of, again, Spider-Man being a creation mainly of the 60s, of saying, hey, what if he was a 40s noir detective? And Spider-Man is already at least kind of a noir character in that he tends to get beat up a lot and put through the ringer, and has to, he can't win but for losing, which is right up there with a lot of noir tropes. So it's an easy fit.
Interjecting a question here, just because I'm curious, wasn't Spider-Noir also one of the Spider-Men that did not have the genetic spider powers and yet had to rely on technology at the time?
That is correct.
I think so.
That is correct.
He's
right there with not the manga verse, but I can't remember what it's called. It was like a spider ninja.
Right.
Where it was like an American-made version of an anime, but he was a Japanese Spider-Man, and he was a ninja, and he had like grip shoes, and instead of webbing, he had hook shots and things like that.
Grappling hook.
Well,
Yep.
yeah. So, yeah, there are quite a few, and I think Penny Parker is also one that doesn't actually have spider powers.
Yeah, no,
Alright, there's a name I've
She
never heard before.
I believe she was bitten, but it's more of a psychological connection.
Yeah, because she has the spider that has her father's memories,
Yes.
who helps her out, and then she has the mechanical spider suit that her spider father helps pilot.
Dude, I had the original spider suit toy.
See, there you go.
The Evangelion themed mecha suit that
Of course you'd have something Evangelion themed.
But I mean, like, this was before, like 20 years before Spider-Verse came out, right?
Right.
And they changed the form of the Spider-Mech to look more round and happy and comfortable, and, well, more like, what's that movie? Big Hero 6?
Oh yeah.
So they were going for that design when originally in the Spider-Manga-verse, it was the Evangelion style kind of mech. It was a creepy, scary looking mech.
Mechs are cool.
And I actually had that toy. I didn't know why that Spider-Man toy came out, because hell, if I was a kid, I didn't know this thing existed in Japan. I was just starting to understand anime with DBZ and
Americans.
DBZ and Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon and all that.
Hell, I've never even seen Samurai Pizza Cats.
What?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Way back then when.
Yeah. I've never even seen that show.
Okay, well, I'm about to change your life.
Oh, man. But, No, I remember getting that mech, and I'm like, this thing's freaking rad. Like, I was just like, this toy's cool. Like, Spider-Man as a machine, like Machine Spider-Man. This is cool. And then, like maybe 2 years ago, I discovered that this was a thing, and I'm like, holy shit. I freaking love Penny Parker. And like
That's great.
There's this one scene where she's just like listening to. She's like Diva from Overwatch.
Yeah, sure.
She's sitting there in her mech, like working on stuff, just and she's listening to some poppin' music, and she's just grabbing her chips or whatever, like, okay, I got this going, I'm just like, oh god, if you weren't 16.
Stay good, stay legal.
I know, keep it safe. keep it legal, keep it safe.
You know what they say, if you can't keep it in your pants, keep it in the fan.
Marvel, please give me a 20 and above version of Penny Parker.
I just love how he completely ignored my comment.
I didn't hear what you said.
I was wondering whether I should bring it up. Yeah,
I didn't hear
I don't know
you
if
said.
you want to repeat it.
I didn't hear what you said.
If you can't keep it in your pants, keep it in the family.
You are.
I never suffer for a good time, I'll tell you that. I can make
Escape.
people laugh like nothing.
F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6.
What, you trying to mute me? What's going on here?
F8. I'm
Oh
trying.
I get it.
I'm counting my keyboard so I don't have a panic attack because I'm so infuriated over that.
I had a good laugh.
I don't even remember where our topic went.
Spider.
We were talking about Penny Parker. I don't know if we want to stay on that topic, but
Oh, Penny Parker. You're so cute. And also, in the mangaverse, like the actual comics, she is violent as all fuck.
sure.
She is more spider-like and nasty in terms of personality than I think out of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. Oh my gosh, do you think that we could probably potentially could categorize each Spider-Man or woman or girl or boy?
So Spider-Person?
Yeah, Spider-Person according to like a species of spider?
That would be a fun mental exercise that I think you would excel at, and the two of us would just be like, sure. Sounds plausible.
Although I am curious. I'm curious what
RJ,
kind of
that just sounds like. Yep, that sounds like something you would enjoy doing, and neither of us would be able to have any possibility of being able to do
I'm
so.
not saying we wouldn't enjoy ourselves. I'm just saying we'd be limited to. Yeah, sure. That sounds reasonable. You seem like you know what you're talking about there. Yeah, sure.
Okay,
So this
really
Spider-Man
quickly.
is based off of a spider, and then this Spider-Man is that one's a spider, and then Spider-Girl over there, I'm pretty sure that's a spider.
That's
about my
be
knowledge.
I am
like
going
a skinny
to-
spider. That'd be like a big, hairy, fat spider.
That's a creepy spider. That's a deadly spider. That's a
Be
spidery
a web spider. That'd be a jumping spider.
Geez, you're already going farther than I'd have any clue on.
And then you have the Australian one. No, then you have the Brazilian wandering spider. That's the venom one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it when he gets all laughy like that. It creeps me out. Almost as much as spiders.
Oh, don't even
User
worry
has left
about
the
it,
chat.
hon. Everything's gonna be just fine.
User has left the channel. Fuck, why do I suck at Tony Hawk?
I don't know.
I never used to.
All right,
Back to spiders, please.
quick question. Everyone, okay, quick question.
Okay.
Everyone's favorite Spider-Man villain. RJ.
The one that showed up once.
Oh man. That would be an interesting research subject. Spider-Man villains that have only had one appearance. I'm not sure that actually
Female
would be that
Spider-Man
many.
villains with only one appearance.
Ooh, really narrowing it down now.
Mm-hmm.
Are you wait? Are you serious?
What, that I have no idea? Yes.
That's actually what I was thinking.
I'm like, how can I divert this so that it looks like I know what I'm talking about and cause a really good conversation? Oh, I know. Hey, who hasn't ever showed up more than once? 60s. There, have fun.
No, I wanted it to actually. I wanted you to actually share.
I don't have an opinion.
How do you not have a favorite Spider-Man villain?
Wolverine.
You know what? That's you know what? No. That's
Batman's
acceptable.
the best
That's
Spider-Man villain.
acceptable.
Snick it, bub, snick it.
The two of them have
Bugsy
constantly been going at it for generations. Okay, yeah, if you say Wolverine, I'll accept that as an answer.
No. No, actually, not villain, but anti-hero. And because they are actually of the same universe, and because I am an absolute... No, see... What... If you're a noob to Japanese culture but really are into it, you're a weeb. If you're really into North American comics and yet you have no idea what it is, precisely, what is the North American version of a weeb?
Comic book nerd?
No, because comic book nerds actually know their shit.
Think you're trying to avoid the topic.
No, I'm trying to think of the right word, and you guys aren't helping me.
I don't know if there is a word for that.
There isn't a word
Well,
for
okay.
it.
A North American comic weeb. My choice is
Basic.
Deadpool.
Okay, look. I'll just put it straight. It's just simply called nerd.
Oh, jeez. This is why I really wish I had a stream deck so I could have like sound clips all queued up.
Nerd.
Oh man, if we get the day we get sound clips up in this.
Nerds.
Okay, I just saw another comment from the comment section. These memes suck. Says the Flash is my favorite Spider-Man villain.
The Flash.
I see you. These memes. I see you, and I am smirking approvingly.
I'm.
There we go.
Okay. Nerds. Continue.
So yeah, my pick has to be Deadpool because, well, Deadpool is actually awesome. Pre Ryan Reynolds anyways, so.
Yeah.
But he's not a villain. He's like a best friend.
He's an anti-hero.
No, but he's a bestie.
He's not a hero, he's not a villain, he is just him.
No, but he loves Spider-Man. He's like Spider-Man's bestie.
And he has a super serious one and a super, super crazy one living in his head with him. I fucking love the dopey one.
Yeah.
I'd actually challenge you. Okay, I want you to actually think about this, Sasha.
I did think about it.
It's not a villain. We
Okay,
are not. I'm specifically saying villain.
Fine. Don't want me to
Deadpool is a bestie, and Wolverine is a rival. So while RJ or Dash Magnum explains his pick for favorite villain,
I
you
will
can
go
think
through
it-
Google. Fine.
So you want me to go while in Vamp then?
go for it. It's you got the floor, Dash.
Okay. I mean, we talked a lot about Dr. Octopus, so I'm gonna actually. He's still my favorite, but I'm gonna pick somebody else just so we have something to talk about. That's not just repeating what we said before. So my second favorite is actually, I think I'd actually would say would be shoot, what's his name? Would be Craven.
Ooh, yes.
Because
He
because
fierce.
he doesn't always just show up in Spider-Man. He's shown up in some other comics, but there's Craven's Last Hunt, which is a trip.
A completely disgusting trip.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But like even so, like even if we just say that's its own thing, and there's probably never going to be a story like that, you can't really top that story. Just the idea of a most dangerous game style villain who's hunting Peter Parker just because there's no one else like him in the world, and this guy wants the honor of saying he hunted and killed him. He is fun. He's also very fun when he shows up in Squirrel Girl, where apparently he's a completely different person. He's not that bad a guy. It's just when he's around Spider-Man. It's also where you learn he has his own vehicle, the Cray-Van.
Oh my
Which is
god.
a van
Oh my god.
done up in his style. The
Oh my
Cray-Van.
god. Oh my god.
The new Spider-Girl, or a Squirrel Girl comic, with art by Erica Henderson and various writers, Ryan North, and I think Chip Zdarsky was on it. Very funny. Very good. And Craven's a great side character in that one. Or apparently he's not so bad a guy. Not a great guy, but not so bad a guy, at least.
I feel like Craven, he has a lot of integrity. Like,
Sure.
he knows who he is. He upholds who he is. And he will follow through with who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the greatest hunter of all time. He just also happened to bury Peter Parker alive.
Like you do, you know. Bury him alive, steal his power, steal his suit, steal his
It's
powers,
it's like
and then
okay,
kill himself.
at that point you cross the line of being a good hunter to just being cruel and evil.
Sure.
I mean, you could have been equally as cruel with Peter by buying Peter Parker a green dress. If anyone catches that reference.
Yep. Green dress, that's cruel. But if you had $1 million,
If you had $1 million,
was that enough vamping?
that was pretty good. I liked your love for Craven. Craven's definitely up there.
He's got a great costume that that lion face, like, weird lion face vest that frames his pecs and his six pack or eight or however many pack.
Like I feel like he is the epitome, the absolute epitome of the wrestlers match that I brought up at the beginning of this whole Spider-Man topic. I mean, most of the time when it comes to Spider-Man villains, it's pretty much like luchador style.
Right.
But then just he shows up as WWF. Just, I am Craven. I am the hunter. And you, the spider. You are a fantastic hunter. But you are my prey. It's just too perfect.
It's great.
So he's your number one then?
No,
he's my number two. Number one's still Dr. Octopus, but we talked a lot about him already.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to
is,
just repeat myself.
Number one is easily for me Dr. Octopus, but number two for me has to be Kingpin.
Really?
Either that or...
Honestly, given your affinity and love for spiders, I thought you would have picked something along the lines of House or Eero.
Oh, here... Oh, I actually have a weird... Sorry, for who? Who'd you say? Sasha?
I didn't catch that.
Who did you say?
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but the 1,000?
Oh, the one who's just a bunch of spiders?
Yeah, or the female version that was created when Peter cheated death.
No. Mine's kind of a... I unfortunately have a problem with not being able to choose a single favorite. And I tend to have a trio.
That's fine.
I feel
okay, so this is Marvel vs. Capcom.
I feel like
Gotcha.
I feel like the top is Dr. Octagonopus Blorg.
Oh my god, yes.
Doc Ock is number one.
Yep.
Hey man, where's your phone?
It's charging. I would also say Mysterio. Just because everything he does is such a mindfuck. And
oh, they're creepy.
Thirdly, I can't decide between Kingpin or Venom.
Okay. Well,
because
all good ones.
Kingpin is the big boss, and he puts a lot of things into place. I mean, sure, there's the Goblin, and most of the stories involve Osborn and the Osborns setting things into place. But they're usually not my favorites.
Yeah, I gotta agree about the goblins.
Yeah, I mean, they're...
Mainly it's because for so long Norman was dead and not a part of the stories.
You know...
Oh, wow.
Well, actually, technically he wasn't. He was skipping through between dimensions.
Well, right, but he was still not in the stories.
Right. He was just finding his way back. And every once in a while, he pops in and just trips everyone out.
Right.
Like when he, takes over the Avengers and creates the new Avengers. But, you know what? I'm gonna have a little bit of fun here.
Okay.
I really like the Scorpion.
Scorpion is fun. I really like the not Scorpion 2. There was a Scorpion they introduced not too long ago who was a lady, like a teenage girl Scorpion. She was fantastic.
Wait, what?
She was introduced around the same time. Let me hold on. Google Fu, don't let me down now.
Femscorp.
Oh, I see you practice the Google Fu.
I do.
Oh.
Oh, I got the wrong Scorpion. That was Scorpion from Mortal Kombat.
That's why I prefaced mine with Spider-Man.
Okay.
Was this her, Carmilla Black? Yeah, this is her from Amazing Fantasy Volume 2, Number 7.
Oh, what?
She is cool.
She is hot as.
Yep, Carmilla Black, born
I'm not
Thessani Rappaccini.
I'm not going to finish that sentence.
I mean, again, keep it safe, keep it legal.
Scorpia?
After the vicious murder of her adoptive parents, Carmilla
Scorpia.
discovered her biological mother, Monica Rappaccini, is the scientist supreme of the worldwide terrorist network AIM, Advanced Idea Mechanics, is now trying to find her real mother under the auspices of S.H.I.E.L.D., who are attempting to use her to infiltrate AIM. She appears in Incredible Hulk number 87, a one-shot story that takes place immediately after the House of M, written by Peter David.
Yeah, Elaine Cole, also known as Scorpia.
Mm-hmm.
I do
But yeah, no,
not
she was
believe
introduced
for an
not too long ago.
instant that this drawing, that is an official Marvel drawing, for that character to be a teenager.
Yep. Here we go. Created by Fred Van Lente.
I do not believe that character is a teenager for an instant.
I mean, that is
That is
a problem that comics often have.
Far too much of a mature-looking face.
I mean, that is a problem that both comics and often TV shows often have. Where TV shows will have 30-year-olds playing teenagers.
Yeah, true.
And comics does about the same sometimes.
Oh my god, I just found a female version of the Beetle.
Oh yeah, Beetle 2. She was in
I am extraordinarily excited.
She was from what was that comic series? Not the League of Losers, but which that was another fun.
It's the all-female Sinister Six might be, and it shows the female Doc Ock. It shows female Beetle, female Scorpion, female Shocker. What the?
Yeah.
What the?
I got a question.
I'm sorry.
Why
I
in the 90s?
have an even more important question. Who the hell is this bunny rabbit?
Oh, the White Rabbit. Yeah. Oh, she's great. It's literally just based on Alice in Wonderland.
The fuck?
And
I'm
Superior Foes of Spider-Man.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, hon. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please continue.
Oh, you talking to me?
Yes.
I wasn't listening.
Wow. Wow. Okay. 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 Can I have you? Can I have your number? Can I have your number?
1 second. What the heck just?
Did someone join us?
No, that was me.
Okay.
Wait. Yeah. What the hell just happened?
Wrong phone.
Oh.
So.
See,
Right
like
here.
Mike and Ike's.
Because I was scrolling people.
Wait.
So
An error
I've got a-
occurred. An error occurred.
What error?
I don't know. For some reason, though, we're not live.
Uh-oh.
What? Have you been recording though this whole time?
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. No, it is back. It's there.
Okay.
That
Okay,
was my
alright.
bad. There's only one person watching now, and apparently it's me.
Yay! We got one viewer! Yay!
Some.
All right. Well, we're breaching. We're breaching on 20 more minutes left before the 3-hour mark.
Okay, so you want me to pick my top whatever?
Yeah, your top Spider-Man villain.
Yeah. So first, just because I'm a little familiar with the other comics media that he's in, thanks to Amazing Spider-Man 129, technically a villain, the Punisher.
Oh, yeah?
Oh
For only a very
Punisher.
short time. Was basically a mercenary hired by the Jackal to kill Spider-Man, and then eventually was like, "Oh, damn it! I was just being used. All right, Spider-Man, you're fine. I'm gonna go kill bad guys."
Mm-hmm.
Now there was the in the animated series, which reflects that. Spider-Man becomes basically the mutation takes over his body, and he becomes a giant spider. And he
There we go. I
and
got a
he-
phone call and I lost you guys.
Oof. Yeah, I hate that. It always disrupts stuff.
I have
So-
it turned off too.
So the pun. So
All
the
right,
pun-
so what?
so-
what
so the
did
Punisher-
you hear from me?
The Punisher is called in because Spider-Man becomes a giant spider and takes over an entire parking complex. The mutation of the genetic information takes over.
Mhm.
Spider-Man attempted to try to get help from Professor Xavier, but Xavier said, unfortunately, you are not a natural mutant. I can't actually help you. And Peter's like, well, fuck you. And Beast tries to help him out, saying, look, I understand what you're going through. And he's like, no, you really don't. You really honestly don't. Because at this point, he has arms growing out of his sides. He now has like 6 arms. And he's like, you really have no idea what I'm going through. And so he escapes and then goes to New York and back to New York and takes over an entire parking complex. Actually feasts on some people. And the Punisher is called to take him out. The Punisher shows up with his entire huge truck, you know, the truck
Right.
of guns and bullshit that he has.
Is G.I. Joe playset?
Yep. And he goes in to try to take him out, and he can't even touch him. He cannot even touch the Spider-Man. Like this is like I want to say even inspired by the 1980s The Fly,
Sure, probably.
where it's just like he completely exposed his epidermal skin and became the spider. I'm having a really hard time remembering how this was resolved.
I can help you. there.
Oh, I
Not
do
familiar.
remember. Yes. Shield because first Shield tried to hired the Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
And then Shield hired Connors, who is the
Yep.
Lizard,
Yep.
and said, "You have genetic information about Spider-Man." And Connors says, Yes, I actually do.
Mm-hmm.
We need you to find some way to reverse this." Okay. And the only way that you can do this and be safe is to be the Lizard. And he's like, what? And so basically they gave him this ability to become the Lizard, but also have his consciousness. So he had the full body and full being of the Lizard, all of the strength and skill, but with the intellect of Dr. Connors.
Ooh. There you
And
go.
all he had to do was hit him with a serum and pump it right into his body. And that would change him back to normal.
Right.
Of course it happens. Spoilers, folks. It happens.
Oh no, now it's ruined. I'll never be able to.
But still, it's like Shield calls Dr. Connors and says, "We want you to become the Lizard, and then we're going to make sure that you are still Connors, and we want you to use your use the genetic information that you've gathered from Peter Parker and create a serum, a radioactive serum that will calm him down, because this is the radioactive serum that you use to calm yourself down." And it's like, what the freaking fuck? Like, this is so convoluted.
Oh, gee. So, my last, if I may.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, sorry if I cut you off. I just had a thought.
Yeah.
Okay. Can everybody does to hear me?
Yep. I can hear you.
So, my last one is 6 but 1. If that makes sense. Do either of you, I'm hoping Coop does, Scream, Lasher, Riot, Phage, and Agony?
I know what this one is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, I don't understand.
Okay. This
I know what
is
this is.
one Spider-Man villain.
Uh-huh.
You've got Scream, Lasher, Riot, Phage, and Agony. Do you know what any of these are, or what they're related to?
I remember...
Don't look it up. Don't cheat.
No, I remember Scream. I remember Rage and Agony, but I don't remember the others.
Anyways, they all become the super being hybrid. Do you know hybrid?
I actually don't.
Okay. Hybrid is the amalgamation of Venom's children Agony, Phage, Lasher, and Riot.
From the separation anxiety.
Yep, and Lethal Protector.
Yes. No,
Yep.
that okay. Because I was thinking like the names. I'm thinking this sounds like separation anxiety. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
Phage was the giveaway for me because I was like, I remember reading at the time being like, okay, I know what all these other things are. What's a phage?
And it's still
Is that just
no, it's still
hard of a
it's
word
still
that's-
and it's still 616.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So, anyways, that's
This
my
is
final
from
pick, 'cause
Separation
it looks
Anxiety.
amazing.
Oh my gosh. Yes, Scream.
Nice.
Oh my god,
Good
I love
pull.
Scream.
Good pull.
I'm sorry.
Honestly, I
keep
picked it because it
interrupting.
was like 6 Venoms, and I'm like, oh my god, love this.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't hear him say it, so I finally got to it. I'm like, aha! All right, I got to mention this one. 'cause
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lasher's the green one. Yeah.
Yep. Lasher's the green one. Phage is the purple one.
Hold on,
I
I was
think
just
so. Scream is the yellow-red one.
And then
Yeah.
what was her name? Agony
Agony.
was pink. Hybrid was
Yeah.
red and black. Phage was green. Riot was puke colored. Lasher was green with tons of tentacles, and then Scream was like the sunburst color.
Yeah,
With, like, leopard
yellow-red.
spots.
Yellow-red. Scream is yellow-red.
Mhm.
I remember her and
Yep.
Lasher the most, actually.
Well, call me biased. I like Agony.
Oh man, that game as a video, like on the Sega, that game was fucking bullshit. That game was bullshit. Way to bring up some dark corners there, hon. Good job.
Woo!
pull.
I did it
Good
good.
pull.
I did it good.
Yeah, that was Separation Anxiety.
What game was that one for?
And here's the thing is that
I don't know what system that game was for.
Spider-Man. Okay, so the Venom movie came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that the next film is going to be called Carnage.
Right.
I'm hoping that Carnage does well enough where they name the next, where they complete the trilogy
Mm-hmm.
with Separation Anxiety.
That'd be cool.
And
I'd be there for that.
and they would need to have Spider-Man in there.
Sure.
They would seriously. It's like,
It honestly, from what I've read, it makes sense that Spider-Man would be there.
yeah.
So that would make, quite literally, no matter what, another Spider-Man game.
Oh, if they had a remake of Separation
Do you know what I
Anxiety,
really want a remake of? Do you know what I want a remake of?
no, that game is gonna suck.
Is it?
Yes. It's gonna be bullshit.
I want a remake of Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro PS1. Or just a remaster of it.
A remaster would
Kinda
be
like the
better. A remaster
Kind of
would
like
be
the
better.
Spyro trilogy.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I've got that. I should probably
I mean,
download
the
updates
the
tomorrow.
Spyro trilogy was fine.
It gave me enough of a nostalgia boost with better controls. I enjoyed it. Like I wouldn't say that it wins Game of the Year or anything, but like
Oh yeah, yeah.
better than
It's
76.
like, it would have the same. It would have the same.
At least the bugs
it
in
would
it
have
are
the same.
a lot more
It would have the
predictable
same
than
credit
76.
review as. Oh gosh, what was that last game that was released by Rare?
I couldn't tell you.
That is depressing.
The
Rare, what
dragon.
happened to
It was
you?
the dragon and the. It was basically. It was effectively Banjo-Kazooie, but it was.
No, you're thinking Ukulele. And
Yeah,
that wasn't
Ukulele.
them. That was a fan game, essentially.
No, it was made by the original team of Rare. It wasn't a fan
Then
game.
how did someone else get the rights to that?
Yeah, they couldn't get the rights back to Rare, but it was effectively it was effectively the OG team.
Let's see. Who developed
It's going to... So basically, like if they were to do a separation anxiety or even a maximum carnage, it would have the same reaction from fans. Like, it's fine. It does its job. Kids will enjoy it, but adults won't. Adults who grew up with those games are just gonna go, I mean, that
Yeah, no,
just seems,
Ukulele was
that
made
seem-
by
that-
indie developer Platonic Games. Has
Yeah, but-
nothing to do with Rare.
No, that's the same. It's the same people.
Oh, you mean the people in it, not necessarily the studio. I see.
Correct.
I understand. Developers.
Anyway, we're breaching up on our 3-hour limit here, so
Before we end, may I propose a lightning round question?
ooh, fun.
We've talked about.
Since Spider-Man's kind of like a battle, let's go ahead and. I want to know what you propose.
We've talked about a lot of things Spider-Man, but not this one topic. It's one I think that's fairly important to Spider-Man. Love interests. Because he has many.
Oh.
And I would like to... You guys, tell me who's your favorite love interest for old Peter B. Parker?
Gwen Stacy.
Or A. Parker. Okay, Gwen Stacy. Want to explain why, or leave it at that?
All right, no, I do want to leave it at that, but constantly throughout
elevator
the...
pitch.
Okay, here's the thing. I don't understand why Peter... I mean, I get it. He's just so heartfully, madly in love with Mary Jane. But to be honest, she's like the princess at the end of the castle. She has literally no personality.
Disagree, but that's your opinion. Fine.
She does have personality, but I mean, she doesn't have the same kind of personality as Gwen Stacy, and I'm not talking about OG Gwen Stacy.
Okay.
I'm talking about the Gwen in the same sense as when we talk about Spider-Man, we talk about the Spider-Verse.
You're talking about Gwenpool.
The Gwenpool.
Or sorry, Spider-Gwen.
Everything about Gwen. Gwen is a student. She is an intellectual. She's just as smart as Peter. She is maybe not as intelligent as Peter, actually. That can be argued.
Mm-hmm.
But in later versions of Gwen, when they kind of do reboots, it's not 616.
Right.
She's always had this really, really strong, powerful personality. And I always felt that Mary Jane, though, she does have a personality. She really does. I want to retract my statement in saying that she didn't have a personality. And that she was just simply a princess to be saved. She was emotionally intellectual. She had various elements to her character that Gwen didn't have. But Gwen keeps coming back as this strong, definitive character despite the fact, and you know what? Actually, I'm going to just straight up say this. I mean, every time that they do the whole Mary Jane dies off of the bridge,
Right, the death of Gwen Stacy.
that was the death of Gwen Stacy. Yes. It's like she's almost like the center to the web, because her father was also involved with the law. He was an officer.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Brock had ties to her in various different versions of her. And so all of these things, like the shattered web, sparkles from Gwen Stacy. But as a character, she is strong and defining and really actually inspiring.
Oh, sure.
Intelligent.
Oh, sure.
And has a lot of great drive and character. So I say 100%, if we're talking love interests, as much as I love Mary Jane, nope, sorry. Gwen is my number one. I think Peter kind of fell for the wrong woman.
Fair enough. Sasha. Saito, what's your take? Who's your pick?
All right. So, I've been reading through a few because I'm not very well familiar with it, but from what I've been learning, there's, I think, two that I'm bouncing between, and I'll name them, and you guys kind of fill me in on the dynamics.
Sure.
So there's Kitty Pryde, apparently, from the
yeah.
universe.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I forgot about that one.
That one, and then
that was more of a crush, but yeah.
And then Black Cat.
I was about to say Felicia. I was about to say Felicia Harding.
Yeah.
Felicia Harding is basically the Black Cat. Yeah. She's the She's the Catwoman of the Spider-Verse.
Yep.
She's not really a true love interest, but
mainly because she doesn't. Well, I'll save that for when I talk about my pick. But
oh, sorry, I got one more as well after you're done talking about those two.
Well, I don't know so much about the first one, but okay. Felicia Harding is a very interesting character.
She's fun. I'm always excited to see her show up.
Always, absolutely, and she is directly tied with S.H.I.E.L.D. Sometimes, yeah, you're right. Sometimes, her sometimes her father is part of S.H.I.E.L.D. Mm-hmm. Sometimes part of what's the opposite? What's the
Sword? Or Hydra?
Hydra, there we go.
Okay.
But from what I remember, her father was tied with with Peter's parents with S.H.I.E.L.D. in terms of wow, the word is escaping me entirely. a bunch of shit. Let's just say that.
No need to elaborate. Yeah, that's fine.
Yep. No. Yeah.
All right, and then Dash, what do you have to say about Kitty?
She's an X-Man, and I think at one point she had a crush on Peter Parker, Spider-Man, because they're all in New York. They're both teens. It was never really a serious relationship, but it's a cute what if.
Okay.
She's usually paired up with Colossus since X-Men.
Right. Okay.
And it's not as weird as it sounds because Colossus is also actually a teen. He doesn't look like it 'cause he's a giant man.
Oh, the word I was looking. Oh, I'm sorry. The word
He's
I was
supposed to
looking...
be a teen.
I'm sorry. The word I was looking for was international.
Oh, there you go. Yep.
Of course, Coop would forget international.
Go
Oh,
on.
roll tonight. What? I'm just saying, of course, you of all people would forget the word international.
And I said go on to RJ.
Elaborate. Oh, to me. Okay. That's all I've got to say. Or do you want me to give my answer? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, go for it.
I've got my final one, but if you want to do yours,
No.
go ahead.
Go by all means. Finish.
So the other one that I read about apparently was incredibly forgettable.
Oh boy.
But Silk.
Silk.
Yeah, completely.
She's a new character.
Yeah, completely forgettable.
And
It
also
was,
kind of forgettable.
What, something of
Sorry,
something of a
sorry, Silk
Futurama kind
fans.
of deal?
Sorry, Silk fans. But yeah, she showed up in a part of the comics where I kind of stopped reading Spider-Man because I had all the good ones I wanted and I didn't need any more. And comics are expensive, so no thoughts on Silk really. Sorry.
Okay.
Pretty much. Agreed.
Forgettable.
Yeah.
Sorry, Silk fans.
I like how I literally picked one that both of you knew, and I
Mhm.
picked one that only one of you knew, and then I picked one that neither of you care about.
Yeah.
Also,
I think I just picked her because she looked cute.
Got a good costume design. I'll give her that. But
also,
it's all like,
actually, here's a fun idea.
uh-huh.
Wouldn't Madam Web be like the perfect cougar?
Most times she's a lot older than Peter Parker. I don't know. Maybe. I'm sure for someone out there, that's their thing. Here's your sign.
All right, so RJ, what's your take
Okay.
on it?
So for me, there's 3 real contenders, and we've brought all of them up already. Unfortunately, Coop, I can't agree with you on Gwen. Because here's the thing. I agree with you on this much at least. She'd be a great partner for Peter Parker. They have a lot in common. But here's the thing. For me, there's a big gulf between OG Gwen Stacy and modern Gwen Stacy.
Oh, see, I'm talking.
And I'm a fan of both, but
Gwen. I'm talking about
Ver-
modern Gwen, man.
Here's the thing with modern Gwen. Her Peter already died. I mean, that's one of the great understated scenes in Spider-Verse is where Gwen is, holding Peter B. Parker by the lapels and saying, "You can't do this right now. That's not your Mary Jane." And she's saying that to someone who's not her Peter Parker, who is, her Gwen Stacy in a way. Like, in her backstory,
she understands.
Spider-Man becomes the Lizard, and she kills him by accident, not realizing it's him.
Yeah, I know.
And so she's having to basically be the strong one.
Yeah.
When she's having her own moment of having to talk to the person who she killed.
Yeah.
And tell them, like, no, you can't do this right now. You have something more important to do, and that's not your Mary Jane.
So you
get it together, Peter.
You get why I love Gwen Stacy then.
I do too, but that Gwen is not a good match for Peter or for Spider-Man. She's got her own thing. She might be a good match for Miles Morales.
Yeah.
But that Gwen, I don't really see being a good match. And OG Gwen, she likes Peter Parker just fine. She doesn't really like Spider-Man though, because her dad's a cop, and to her dad, Spider-Man's a menace. And on the other end, on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have Felicia Hardy, who only cares about Spider-Man.
Ooh,
Doesn't care about weenie
Felicia.
Peter Parker.
Oh, Felicia.
But Spider-Man's exciting. Spider-Man is a fun fling. Someone to tease and to, lead around by the nose.
Oh,
and
trust me, Felicia, baby.
And she's great. I love her too. She's not also not the best match for our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Okay.
There is one character though who can touch both worlds.
Uh-huh.
And because she saw Spider-Man at a young age before the two really even met, and saw who he was, accepted him, and accepts both sides of him. And I'm sorry, it's your girl Mary Jane. Because you just hit the jackpot.
We literally just had a Triforce here. Mary
Yep.
Jane, Felicia
I was so
Harding,
happy that each of you picked different people.
Gwen Stacy.
Mary Jane is the one who can accept both Peter as the the photographer trying his best, and as Spider-Man the superhero. And because after the death of Gwen Stacy, there's that scene where Peter's in a dark depression, and who comes to him? It's Mary Jane.
Mary Jane.
And at first he tries to send her away, and she starts to, but then she's like, "No, I know what you're going through because I know your secret. I am here for you now."
Mm-hmm.
And I was really hoping. I mean, I know those. I'm sorry, Andrew Garfield. Your movies weren't that great. The first one was okay, but the second one dropped the ball a bit. And
the first one
was
nice
if they could
the
brought
first
in Mary
one was
Jane
awesome
then.
with the lizard. That was a good one.
That was a good one. That one was decent. I still say that one was mostly all right. The second one, I think, tried to play it too straight and was too straight a retelling of the death of Gwen Stacy. And there's, aside from Elektra, there's not enough news. That and they focus way too much on Peter Parker's parents, who, like Superman's biological parents, don't really matter that much. But everyone thinks they do. Hollywood, if you're listening to me, stop making Jor-El matter. His job is to put the baby in the rocket and then say, "There goes our last best hope," and then die.
Well, no.
That is his significance. Ma and Pa Kent are more important.
Hold on,
I'm sorry, I just turned this into a Superman
I'm going to disagree with you
podcast.
there because, in the 90s, they actually did establish that his parents were involved with S.H.I.E.L.D., that they were double agents.
Sure, but they should never matter more than Uncle Ben and Aunt May.
That's true.
Those are his real parents.
But they can be used as elements to integrate them into the larger universe.
They can, but they've never been done well.
Correct.
And the movies may well have been the worst implementation of them. I'm sorry.
You are not
They
wrong.
really
You
tried to
are
make
not
that
wrong.
mystery matter, but it doesn't.
You are not wrong, sir.
Because, like Superman, they died before they really had a chance to have an impact on his life.
All right, folks.
Anyway, sorry.
We have reached. We have reached the 3-hour mark.
Hooray!
We've talked a lot about Spider-Man. We've reached. I mean, even without any real structure, we've talked about almost every inch of his web, have we not?
We definitely did our best. We made a dent in it.
There's
a lot of material there. We put a solid dent in it.
So this is the Spider-Man episode, and fortunately we had a third. Fortunately, we did have a third person come in here, and thank you for jumping in and adding to the conversation.
I'm glad I could be here.
Yeah.
And
welcome.
One more time, let's just throw them out there. True Apparel, TRU Apparel. at TRU Apparel. That's through Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. All you need to do is just simply send your ideas or images straight to them, and they'll produce the apparel that you need. Done and done. Said and done.
Well said.
Wonderful. Anyway, thank you all for listening. For those of you in the future who are listening, thank you for listening. And, well, mwah! Good night.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.